We're 9 minutes in and we haven't talked about what we were going to talk about. What are we going to talk about? The back of the book, right?
Oh, you want to talk about the back of the book? I was going to
Uh,
ease into that. You want to just jump right in and get everybody all
well,
pissed off and stuff?
yeah. Well, the whole reason I thought that you basically asked me on is because I had done two different posts, well, a couple of weeks ago now, I think, or at
Yeah,
least
it's
a
been a
week
while.
ago, where two different posts that I made, and the first one went really well, and the second one still went okay. But the fact of the matter is that there was a ton of comments on both of them, and it really blew up, and there was a lot of talk about it. And of course, there's Carly, who is like he is one of the most strongest proponents for back of the book clues, and the things, and this is, I guess we're talking about it, so this is the thing. I think that the clues that he has come up with are really great, but I just feel that had you not already known, had you not already had the solve, or even if it wasn't solved and dug up, if you hadn't already gotten the latitude and longitude for Boston and knew it was Boston, or the verse that talks of Paul Revere making it Boston, you wouldn't know the clues that he came up with. The first one, he's talking about the Spirit of 76, and it has these three things, and one of them is something that relates to something north of Boston. So you're not even in Boston, but somehow we're supposed to connect that it's North Boston, not north of Boston. And then the second one, part of it was about a murdered football player, which is kind of crazy. Like, you got to admit, the Puapalo Field is named after, he is Italian. His parents were Italian immigrants, but he was a murdered football player. So I thought that, like, yes, that really connects and it makes sense, but at the same time, how would you know to pull that part of it out of there without the pre-knowledge of Puopolo? Like, if you never heard of Puopolo or the field or where it was from or where it was dug up, you would never take that clue from the Spirit of 76 in the field guide and pull that out of there and say, this is about a murdered football player who had been murdered football players. Oh, Puopolo's one of those murdered football players. Oh, look, he has a field named after him in North Boston. Like, no, like, it's not. It's like a lottery situation of pulling that kind of information out of things. That all being said, I have to say, one of the comments on that post that I made, I can't remember who it was, but they really made a case for how they came to be in North Boston. They posted um, a pretty good thing. I don't know. I can't. I'd have to bring it up, but I thought it was pretty good.
But
But
like
it still hasn't.
when you know the destination you're working towards, it's pretty easy to get there using just about anything.
And it's hard to not, it's hard to forget or purposely forget
Yeah.
what the thing was, right? It's the hindsight. You already have that information in your head. You can't get rid of it. You know what I mean? And so you're sort of completely biased to finding something that matches that thing. Okay, well, I can find 100 things that match that thing. But if you didn't know that thing to match it to, how would you know one of those 100 things to pick? It's really just pick any of the other unsolved, any of the other than the three that have been solved, and you're stuck with, well, does this really work? Is this the right clue? And you can't do it because you have to use the verse and the picture first. And then even those are suspect. Everybody will not agree on anything as far as that. And until you dig one up, anybody's clue is right or wrong, however you want to look at it. And it's Schrodinger's cask. It really is. And then you want to add into, the back of the book clues. Like, no, you do they seemingly have some pretty good fitting clues? Yeah, but only hindsight afterwards. Only after you know you're in North Boston in a slain football player's field, by home plate. There's just no way to know that ahead of time. It really just isn't.
So Donna Cunningham said the back of the book describes the area you're to be in. Like Texas, the fair person for it describes a hobo-like area, or the area that you would see around a graphite type area. Not sure. I mean, I'm gonna ignore the graphite type area for a second. So she's saying that the back of the book describes a hobo type area, which I don't I don't know what a hobo type area would be. Just a place where homeless people sleep.
Next to the train tracks with a red bandana bag. What? I don't
Maybe.
know.
I mean,
But
it
I mean,
does.
a hobo. I
It's
don't know.
it's kind of like, I mean, a train plays pretty prominently into Houston, so I guess that would fit. But my thing is like, how does it help you? You're already at the train.
Right.
Though
Right. And
apparently I'm devil's advocate tonight, so I shouldn't say anything. I'm devil's
okay.
advocate. My thing is like, how does it? I can hear myself though through Caroline. It's very nice. Right.
Hi,
Hi,
Caroline. I just
Caroline.
looked up. I
Hi
just looked up and
guys.
saw that you were there. Hi, Caroline.
You were
Sorry,
Um,
my computer's being a dick.
you were called royalty in the upcoming podcast episode. You and Nick were called royalty, and then one of you was fought over by two of the guests.
nice.
Wait,
was
what?
it was
Well,
Nick.
well done.
Nick was
Well
fought
done.
over.
Oh, because Cole owns Nick.
Yeah,
Nice.
and apparently Brett does too. I didn't know this.
Yeah, yeah. He has many spouses,
Yeah,
if you will.
and then Kit just stood there for the whole thing, like, "What the hell are you guys talking about?"
Okay, so I want to go back to the back of the book thing again and say
sorry.
that the first part of what we were just talking about is the whole hindsight thing, right? So you're going to be biased because you already know. But then my second post was specifically different, saying, um, "Can you find me clues that would help you?" Just like you just said, how does it help you if you're already at the train? How does the clue help you that you need to go to the train, right? If you already are standing from the verse and the image, you're already standing in the ball field at Pula Field, then what good does the Spirit of 76 thing do that tells you, the same thing? If the clues are that exacting and that matching to the clues that you've already gotten from the image and the verse, then what good did it do you? Is it just a reconfirmer? What's the point? And if they're so identical and so great, then the image and the verse is good enough. What
Here's
do you
something.
what,
Here's something that leads me towards biases with just about all of the back of the book stuff, right? When you're when you're most of the people working on the back of the book, like absolutely none of them can agree on anything, right? There are different
right?
clues pointing to different things. Nobody can agree on a single thing. Like we can all agree fence post means fence post or whatever in the Chicago image, but in the back of the book, nobody can agree on anything. And everybody's ideas from the back of the book strengthens their ideas from the front of the book. No one ever says like,
Showing the bias.
I had nobody ever says I had this idea that there was a cask buried in I don't know, in Houston, but the back of the book told me that this was actually in St. Louis. Or nobody ever says like I had this idea that it was buried in Tranquility Park, but the back of the book tells me it's actually, Herman Park. You know what I'm saying? Nobody ever changes their initial ideas. They just find things to strengthen their original ideas. And like that can't be anything other than bias, especially when you're talking about 12 total puzzles.
And then that backs up the whole idea of Boston being biased to already, you have the theory that is indeed the actual theory because it's been dug up, but really the only thing that you're doing with these back of the book clues for Boston is backing that same theory up. So it's the same thing. So if you hadn't dug it up, you could still do the same thing with it. You would be finding things in the back that back up that theory that you believe is the right one.
Yeah.
Even though in all actuality, it is the right one because the cast is dug up. I understand that, but you see what I'm saying? It's exactly the same scenario.
Now, devil's advocate job, Mary Jo says, hell, nobody can agree what's on the images either, which is kind of true.
Absolutely.
But also not really true, because most people agree on most of the shit that's in the images. It's when you get into like the details of it that people tend to disagree with. Like, nobody's doubting.
I've seen a lot of different ideas for the same things on the images. But what I would say is, I think I said this on my post in my thread. I said, if you disagree about what you think a clue is in the image or in the verse, either one, at least you know for a fact that that is indeed a clue that you need to decipher. If you're in the back of the book, how do you even know that this belongs with this image or this verse? You're just grasping at straws, because literally the book tells you all you need is the image and the verse paired, and you will find it. And to back that up, the 3 that have been found use nothing in the back of the book at all and dug up casks. So we don't need it.
I won't go so far as to say there's nothing back there, because that Houston image, like we call it the minor image, with the train tracks, is pretty damn close. There's some stuff in the art that's pretty damn close. And then John Palancar once said, he was like, you take one part of one word and combine it with another part of one word and you get a third word. But there's a lot of words back there, and nobody's really using that sort of nudge from him to solve that.
Another nudge, huh?
Well, I just used that word, on purpose.
I didn't show Caroline.
It's not really a hint. He didn't tell anybody publicly, so.
Did you see what I have on there, Caroline? This hat there. That's from you.
He has the limited edition hat.
Limited edition hat.
Yeah, you can't buy those.
And thank you once again, because Caroline and Nick, they're awesome. I love them.
I don't even have a hat.
I mean, you got a hat on.
I do have a hat. It says cocky. I bought it in Charleston with Ashley and her husband.
That's awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, George? Do you remember what year that Robert Fox figured out the latitude and longitude for each puzzle?
I have no idea. I do. It was before Cleveland was found.
No, I thought it was either.
It was
I thought it was like right after. I thought it was between Cleveland being dug up and Byron dying, like literally between that.
Somewhere around there. It was around there. That was a long ass time ago.
It might have been right before Cleveland. I'm not sure, but I know that Brian Zinn didn't use the latitude and longitude. He used the fact that somebody sent him a picture of the Cleveland Garden and it was Eureka.
Yeah.
I mean, that was it.
But I'm just like trying to figure out
it is right around that time frame though. Right around there, be 04, 05, whenever it was that Robert Fox did that. Yep.
Have you ever had him on Sunday Funday or a podcast, George?
No, he doesn't care. His job is done. He likes The Secret, but he's like, I'm not going to talk on your stupid show. He might. I don't know. I've never really asked. Robert.
I think that would be cool. As long as you have a cat in your video, he'll be cool with it.
Yeah. Robert's a funny dude. That's a good idea. We should ask Robert Fox if he'll come on Sunday Funday one day.
He does, comment
occasionally,
Yeah, not all the time. He's not very there all the time, but he does comment every now and then. And
I bet thinking about it, I bet he'd do it, especially if we phrased it like, hey man, let's talk about what The Secret was like 70 years ago or whatever. When
he'd have to like that, right?
Yeah.
He'd have to like that.
I think from what my interactions with him, he's a pretty cool guy.
He's a really cool guy.
I think he would be really fun to be on.
Yeah.
More fun than us.
Nobody's more fun, and you're royalty, man. It was said on a podcast, which makes it canon. So there you go. Royalty.
Stop.
How are you today, milady? I tip
Wonderful.
I tip my hat to you, milady. I don't know
Bowed.
the fedora.
Bow down. Bow down before me, George.
All right, where's Nick?
I know. Listen, he texted me at 7:45. He was getting ready to leave the restaurant, and a table walked in. Like he was literally ready to walk out of work, and somebody came in. So I'm sorry that you're stuck with me.
I have this Houston map, and I don't know why. I have two. I have two Houston maps. And like a St. Augustine one, and they're just sitting on my desk, and I don't know why.
Tell us.
I remember now. It was one of the back of the book things, so I pulled it out. Like, one of the things that I always see people do with back of the books is they find buildings, they find businesses and shit in like different cities, and they go on Google Earth and they pop that address or whatever into the search function, and they put a pin, and then they draw a line, and then they get like map out every location or whatever, and then wherever the lines intersect, that's where they want to dig or whatever. So I always challenge people, like, do that with a map from 1982.
Yeah,
and you can't. You know tough. Why?
Because it's typically maps are not satellite images.
Because they don't have addresses on them. Like, you can't figure out where shit is. I mean, they've kind of, some of them have block numbers sometimes.
Not your typical map anyway.
No.
Yeah, not your you buy a Rand McNally road map from 1980 and it's not doing that.
I mean, if you want to figure out where the Friars Club is in this map, you're fucked.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. That's not happening. I know, when you get into like a nice sized city map, like if you had Houston and it was a big map of it, I mean, like you could, in 1980 you could get that.
Pretty big
there
map.
Are big, even that's
going.
Sort of. Yeah, but
this one's the smaller one. Hang on.
But what I'm saying is, when you have such large maps, a lot of times they will at least give you the 100 block of whatever street. You know what I mean?
I see no 100 blocks. I don't even know where the park is. This is crazy. How would you do this?
I have some old maps. Let me go see what I have. Hold on 1 second.
I found Memorial Park in Bel Air. I found Herman Park. It's right here.
I know there are some maps that hold 100 blocks. Each block it'll show you.
I'm never gonna fold those correctly.
But I mean, still you're stuck with. First of all, you're stuck with. I don't know that you could come up with a satellite image map in 1980. You could come up with a map like you got. It's just a street map. It's lines and colors, green for park, pink for whatever. But you don't have an image of an overhead image of that thing.
Hey, Carly. Carly's here to argue with you now. Carly's in the comments, so I don't have to play devil's advocate. Carly can. Can you see the comments?
I do. I see Carly there.
I would love to have Carly and Jason on for a fucking professional and like respectful conversation, Mr. Olson.
Sure. Absolutely. I won't say the F word or anything.
I'm pretty sure he'd be okay if you said the F word. I just think you don't say. I think he wouldn't be okay if you said the F word to him.
Well, like I said to you before this whole podcast thing, I was like, there's not a whole lot to say. Like, I pretty much said it. I believe that it's hindsight, and I believe that even if it's not necessarily hindsight, it's identical clues. So they're not helping you. They're just the same, home plate.
Yeah. So here's the conversation we need to have. Right, like you and Carly are on opposite ends of poles, right? Like, you don't think there are clues in the back of the book. Carly, Alan Thomas, people like that, they do believe that the back of the book is full of clues. That it might be the back of the book might be what you should focus on, as opposed to the the verses, and like the back of the book might give you more information than the verses and the paintings would.
Well, then I also talked about the whole fact that if you don't have something that's already been solved, you cannot say that something from the back of the book is a legitimate clue, whereas you can say everything from the image and everything from the verse is a legitimate clue, even if you got
Right.
the wrong clue.
But what
what you're looking at is the real deal, and in the back of the book, you can't know that for a fact that the thing you're looking at is the real deal.
Right. But what I'm getting at is those are two opposite poles of a spectrum, right? And I fall somewhere in the middle of that pole. And I'm waiting for somebody to bring me to one side or the other with some convincing arguments. I can see things like that minor image for Houston. That, like, it's got the 92 train, for God's sakes, right? There's some pretty major stuff in the back of the book where it's like, okay, but you're right, unless you have already figured it out using the front of the book, that it doesn't really apply. And then
or you can't know that it does. You say it does. This is the thing, like I was saying, the 3 clues that Carly brought up about the north of Boston, the Slade football player, and the feel at home or come to home or whatever it was, those 3 things, they match absolutely perfectly. You can't deny that it seems to be a second telling of the Boston clues, right? In its own way, it told you to go to the same place that the image and the verse already told you to go to. So it's a doublet, and it's pretty darn convincing. It's like, wow, if you do have this hindsight, if you do have this already solved, isn't it kind of crazy that these 3 clues match that well? They're right side by side. It's boom, boom, boom. North of Boston, Slane football player, feel at home. 1, 2, 3, right there in the spirit of 76. I mean, I'm fairly convinced that it's a matching set of clues. However, there's no way, if you didn't know that Boston was solved, if you didn't have the cast dug up and know that these were indeed the clues, that you could have gotten there with just the back of the book.
Right. Where you could get there with just the image and the verse. Okay, so you're falling into the it's just there to help. Like, you don't need it, but because I hear that argument so damn much. Byron said that you didn't need the back of the book, but he didn't say it didn't contain any clues, when he very much did. He very much said there's nothing in the back of the book.
He said to Brian Zinn, the quote is, "There is no connection." Literally, that is the quote. There is no connection. But at the same time, so here was my one clue that I felt I never heard anybody say it, and I said it, was for the Cleveland solve, that the Mira Chimera in the back of the book is Greek related and sees everything in reverse, or what, I can't remember.
Yeah, it's how do I look from the back? Yeah, it was posted a while back. Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't know that, but I know I found that, and I said, considering what they did, how they dug it up, and it wasn't there, and then Andy said, we came from this direction, what if we flipped it around, literally saying what the Mira Chimera said. So, here you have the same scenario. Do you use the back of the book to get you there, or is the back of the book just a doublet, a reconfirming of what you already learned from the verse and the image? You can't say they used Mira Chimera. They didn't. They didn't even know until Andy was like, "Hey, well, let's try the other side because we came from this direction." It is
like
what
it's
it
almost
is.
like it's almost like Byron made it, like if you did actually figure out the verse and the image, then you would actually look at the back of the book and be like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, this is reconfirming myself.
But Byron didn't work on the text of the back of the book. As far as we know, Byron didn't work on the text of the back of the book. Now, people will say, Byron was the editor. He could have given them shit to put in the back of the book, but they're guessing about that just as much as I'm guessing about him not working on it. Right?
Okay, so I have a point about this. I have a point about this, though, because didn't Byron tell Ben Asen to take these pictures this specific way, and the pictures that he took are the pictures from the field guide. So Byron knew what
No.
each.
Like
No,
Byron would say stuff like, "Oh, like Ben would say, I'm going to San Francisco," and
right.
or L.A. He went to L.A. I'm sorry, and San Francisco, and Byron would say, "Well, take these out there and take pictures of them. Take them down to." Take them down to not Rainbow Records, Tower Records. Take a picture of it because Tower Records was a huge fucking deal, but only in LA back then.
But what I'm saying is Byron is aware of these fair folk, what do you want to call them, puppets, and he is sending Asen out to take pictures of them, and those pictures are going to be matched with a text that Byron must already know. He
Right. Oh,
knows.
so you're saying if he's writing the text, he already knows.
If he's saying what pictures to take where with what fair folk figurines to use, and he knows about those, he's read that text. Maybe he didn't work on it, but if he's read it, he must have some sort of input to it. You think he read it and he didn't change anything?
Well, no,
You think he read it?
we know he changed some things because we know that the back of the book should describe one fair folk per state. At least that's what John said once, that he wanted each state to have its own fair folk. But I think he misspoke because in one of his interviews, I can't remember which one, he talked about how he wanted people to be represented, like the Tupper werewolves. He wanted everybody to be able to read it and to find a fair folk that they could identify with.
Right.
If that makes sense. But also, I mean, like, that was Sean Kelly and Ted Mann's goal with the fair folk of Central Park, or whatever the hell they wanted to call it. Like, they were satirists. That's what they did. They made fun in a creative way of people and situations.
Right. It's funny. I've read the book, the full book, several times, and I find that a lot of it is hard to get through. So sorry, Sean Kelly and friends there.
It's a product of its time, though, because like I love 70s and 80s satire. It's not good. It's not comparable to 70s and 80s satire. It's still not good, but like you can tell what it's trying to do, and it's creative.
Right, it is definitely creative. It took a lot of thought power to come up with all of these things. I find some parts of it pretty hilarious, but there's more parts of it that are just like, okay, I'm going to read through this because I want to have read through it. I don't know.
Yeah. Like,
have you ever been?
I see
George,
a lot.
Have you ever been able to reach out to Sean or Ted about the book?
I've talked to Sean once or twice. They really just don't want to be interviewed. Ted, I would very much recommend everyone stay away from Ted. Ted's
I'm not advocating that everybody reach out and
we're friends on Facebook. We talk a couple of times, never about the book. Never about the book.
Wow.
Because that would be interesting to kind of get their
perspective. Like Ted Mann and I have a shared interest in like an old hobby I used to have, which is weird to talk about, but we have a shared interest and we can talk about that. So, that's it.
I don't think I want to know what that hobby is.
You probably don't. So yeah. Anyway.
Okay, can I switch gears here?
Sure.
So you already completed the Kit Palancar interview for the podcast, right?
Yeah.
And then you came out with this preview where Kit Palancar is there with he brings across the table
you're talking about the old Greg thing?
Yeah, the old Greg one. That's old Greg is freaking great, by the way.
So like it sucks because only half the people got that. I bet Kit's too young to understand old Greg.
Old Greg is great. I thought that was fantastic. But anyway, that's not what I want to talk about. Yes, I love old Greg. But he comes across the table, Kit does, with a large large bag of disc golf discs.
Yeah.
And
we spent a good deal of time talking about disc golf. I think it's probably like 5 minutes or so in the interview just about disc golf.
Okay, because that's
I mean that interview is like 2 hours long too, by the way. So prepare yourself.
So I was gonna say, you asked everybody, did they have any questions, and then after the whole fact, I found out that here is this big disc golf bag that Kit has, and I have like 10,000 disc golf questions for Kit Palancar now.
You probably just make a thread and talk to it because he loves disc golf, dude. He's just passionate about it.
I think most people that play disc golf love the hell out of disc golf.
We talked about.
I've been playing since 2005. I have a PDGA number. It is expired, but they hold that number for you. I can always go back and rebuy the membership. But my first question to him would be, does he have a PDGA number, and what is it?
I have no idea. Are you a disc golf elitist?
And then my next question would be, how often does he play disc golf? Because he has a large bag of disc, and I typically find that there are two kinds of disc golfers, and he doesn't fall into either category. He falls into a less casual player. Like, okay, so if you play a lot, either you have a very small bag with like 5 or 6 discs.
All different sizes that you always have on you.
You have 5 or 6 discs, right? You're either this kind of player. This is me. I have a small bag. I got 5 or 6 discs in there, and that's what I use. Or if you're not that kind of a player, you have a backpack, rolly, fucking, you could probably sit on the fucking thing bag of disc that hold like 100 discs, and
he's got a shelf full.
What he had
wasn't even all of them.
Right. But what he had across that table was a large bag that you carry over your shoulder, and it just seems like if he carries, Jesus, he must be, if he plays all the time and that's the bag he carries with him, he must be a beast of a man. I don't know. But that's a heavy bag to carry over 18 holes of disc golf.
So he told me there were disc golf elitists. Are you a disc golf elitist?
I don't know the definition of that, but
do you call regular golf ball golf?
Yes, I think all disc golf is true.
I met one. I met a. Oh my god!
Every disc golfer that's a true disc golfer calls ball golf because you've got to differentiate between the two, right? If you say golf, then and your friends are also disc golfers, right? If you say golf, they might think that you're talking about disc golfing, so you got to say ball golf.
George, I think we would have to get Anthony Jasad on this because he's the biggest disc golfer that I know.
Let's get Anthony. Can we get Ant? We probably can't get Ant in here.
All right, let me tell you.
It's probably too early. We could try.
I'm so excited right now. I found a person who calls golf ball golf. You'll understand when you see the interview. I never thought this would happen. I really didn't think it would happen less than a week later.
Well, you never talked to me about disc golf before, so here we are.
Ball golf.
So what I was going to say is when I first started playing disc golf, I played probably 2 rounds a day, 2 18-hole rounds a day for about a year and a half straight. And I did not miss a day. I played in the rain. I played in the heat. I played in the cold. I didn't miss a day for probably a year and a half, and I probably played at least 1 round, if not 2 rounds, every single day.
You guys are just stealing golf terms and then redefining golf. Like, you said you played 18 holes. There is no hole. There's no hole. It's a basket.
It's
hole one.
It's like, I got a putter. You don't have a putter, you have a frisbee.
It's not a frisbee. Well, you'll get bashed for that.
Oh my god.
It's a disc.
These are my clubs. Those are your frisbees.
There are discs. There are driver discs. There are putter disc. You call them what you want, but that's their technical name. They're putter disc, driver disc, mid-range disc, fairway disc, and they all are used specifically for very specific reasons. Certain discs do certain things, just like you have a 9-iron and a fucking 5-iron and
Yeah.
all the different ones.
Just so we're on the same page and we're talking about the same thing. All of these things that you're talking about are shaped like frisbees, right?
No, frisbees are shaped like, here, I'll show you a frisbee.
George, I'm laughing with you, just so you know.
This is awesome.
And I just want to make sure that all the disc golfers know that we're not laughing at them.
Hey, you want to know something cool about that interview with Kit? Do you know Do you know who the person in the image is?
Who?
You're gonna find out.
Oh, nice. Okay, so I have these things here.
Somebody yelled at me about how it was Cleopatra, and I was just like, "You just wait, just wait."
I think I'm gonna have to get rid of.
Who yelled at you about that?
I don't remember.
Why?
I saw somebody post Cleopatra, but I didn't see them yell at you.
It wasn't a private message. It wasn't really yelling. It was just very passionate.
What is it? Where is it? Background here. I'm gonna go with.
This is so great. It's like, welcome to the Secret Podcast. I'm here with disc golfer Jason, who's going to debate ball golfer George.
Here we go.
That's a frisbee.
Here's a frisbee.
Yeah.
You see the I can't get it to show. Okay, so you see how this big fucking frisbee, right? It's the size of my fucking head. It's huge. It's huge and it's fat and it's a frisbee. Everybody knows it. We call them dinner plates. Disc golfers call them dinner plates because this is a disc, and the difference is
it's slightly smaller frisbee.
Oh, it's not. It's a disc. It is. It has a very sharp edge. It has a sharp edge. It is much heavier, and it is not like a frisbee. It is like a disc.
Like a disc.
It's like a salad plate as opposed to a dinner plate.
No, it's like a disc.
I feel like I'm having that. I had an argument with Rob Robel once where he showed me a pistol, or like he showed me an AR-15, and he was like, technically this is a pistol, and I was like, what? No, it's a rifle. He's like, no, it's a pistol. Legally, this is a pistol. Like, I don't care. It's a rifle.
Well, okay. So, I mean, I see your point, but at the same time, you have a much smaller, heavy. My point is this. If you've ever seen the Olympics, the track and field portion of the Olympics, they have a discus throw. It's not a frisbee throw. It's a discus throw. And the thing they are throwing is much like disc golf disc. It is thin. It has a sharp edge. It is metal, but the disc that I throw are plastic, but they have that same sharp edge. They drive through the air. You can throw them 500 feet. You take a fucking dinner plate and you show me 500 feet out of it. It's not going to happen.
I want to go play disc golf with somebody now.
Hell yeah.
Let's go do it.
It's one of the most addictive sports
I've
ever played.
My wife says you don't want to because you will never stop then.
I'll stop. It's money will be a hindrance.
You'll have a big bag like Kit Palencar has before you know it.
Oh, but you'll be off on it.
I would say I have probably, if I took all of my discs and Robin's discs, we probably have about 200 discs, probably.
Let's all meet up in Ohio and play
disc golf?
Awesome round of disc golf.
Can we go play ball golf after that?
Oh, we need to meet up in Iroquois Park in Louisville for the disc golf course there.
We should talk about the tribute. You guys do the tribute, right? I don't do anything with the tribute. I had like no good questions for this interview.
I was talking to Robin about it earlier, and I was saying that I've posted freely on the tribute page the things that I've come up with, and beyond that, beyond those things that I've posted, I really am at I'm stuck. I'm at a standstill. But the two things that I've posted, these are the two things. The first one is um, that there are 12 items in the painting that are a tribute to the original 12 puzzles. Each of these 12 items relate to a city. For instance, in the tribute painting, there is a key under the stage, whatever you want to call it, the stage of the picture. There's a key,
I'm gonna have to
and
go look at that.
that's Milwaukee, right?
The seat of the chair. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just accidentally pulled it up where everybody could see, but yeah.
There are, and I have, if you just search me on Tribute, you will find my post, and you'll see that I have a bunch of red circles on over each thing and labeled each circle with which city they are. Like Chicago has, in the Chicago image of The Secret, it has those, I don't know what to call them, sign holder post things that stick out and hold, um, the thing that's holding the wheel in the tribute painting, the thing
Yeah.
that's holding the wheel with the dots, that thing is also in the Chicago painting,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so
Was that you, Jason, that you pointed out all 12
Yes.
actual?
Yes.
I didn't realize that was you.
Yes, I think other people also sort of did that. I don't know if they came up with all 12. I feel like I came up with all 12. I mean, at the very least, I did it on my own. I didn't look at other people's things and then build on it. I actually started with going, hey, this seems to be a tribute or a representation of this city. Oh, wait, look, here's another one. Oh, wait, I think there's all 12 of them are here.
I do remember that whatever post I saw that somebody did do that, Kit actually commented and was like, good eye.
Yeah.
Graydon would
Yep.
like you to make a chart of each of these, please.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say,
start.
speaking of charts.
Okay, so then that was the first thing, and then the second thing with the tribute is that I feel like it represents sort of, but not exactly, but sort of a map of Louisville. And the lady, I don't know if everybody knows this or whatever, but if you zoom out on the whole of Cherokee Park when you're looking at Google Maps, you can see the outline of the lady in the tribute painting. Are you aware of that?
No.
Yeah, Leanne found that.
Right. So it looks like a vague outline of the lady is all the entirety of Cherokee Park. Well, you can also speculate. I'm not saying this is all golden or whatever, but that different parts of the tribute painting relate to other areas in the city of Louisville. For instance, you see the lady's image on Cherokee Park, but then you see the monarch butterfly. And if you compare Cherokee Park to where Muhammad Ali's grave is, some people believe that the monarch butterfly is relating to floats like a butterfly, stings like a bee, right? That the butterfly represents Ali. So in relation to where it is on the image, it sort of matches. And then there are other things, the animal, the whatever you want.
Cave Hill Cemetery's close.
It's right above it. Above it and to the left, right?
Do you think that people are hindered because they're trying to solve the tribute in the same way they tried to solve the secret?
I don't know, because I think maybe it is that way. Maybe don't you think?
If it was that way, like Byron and Palancar would have had to make it, because they know how the secret is made, right? They would know the formula for the secret. John didn't know. John didn't know.
but he speculated what he believed it to be
Right.
based on the two that were solved. So maybe it is and maybe it isn't, but you don't really know. But I think it was at least tried to be as much as it could be.
Right, but what I'm getting at is John thought that the secret was solved in a way that's wholly different than most people do.
Really?
Right? Sort of the same with me, yeah. Like me and John disagreed on just about everything in the secret, but
Pretty much, I was just gonna say pretty much everything. Every podcast was like no doors.
But
Right.
the way most people are solving the secret now, neither one of us back when we first started would agree with any of them. You know, so like an outline of a park and address is something that both me and John would be like, no, dude, no. He had all these weird, like intricate things, like with fingers and pointing and like all kinds of weird stuff. So I'm wondering if one of the hindrances for people who are solving the secret is they're trying to solve it the way, or not the secret, the tribute is they're trying to solve the tribute the way they would solve the secret and not the way John would solve the secret. You know what I'm saying?
That's a solid point. So what you would recommend is listening to all of the secret podcasts and gathering as much idea of,
or just searching his name and looking for his posts, right? He was never shy about his opinion. He told you how he thought everything was solved.
Did you see I don't know if you saw, sorry to interject, Dustin's podcasts?
No, I've never actually watched one. I'm sorry.
Podcasts. Not the podcasts.
Before we switch over, I just want to say it's kind of funny.
No, it's about the tribute though.
Okay, but we're still on what we were just saying. Just real quick, is that everybody always tries to figure out what Byron Price had for lunch, right? They want to know all about him so they can figure out how he thought, so that they can figure out the secret, right? Well, we have a whole lot more about JM than we do about BP as far as puzzles, right? You can listen to the podcast. You can read JM's post about how he thought about to solve the secret. So I think all those people should do that. Like, take all of that information you have that is available for how JM thought about the secret and apply that to how to solve the tribute. If you can figure out from JM's point of view how he felt the secret should be solved, then you might be able to better figure out how the tribute is solved.
Yeah, because there's a lot of weird, like, JM subscribed to a lot of people's theories about the secret that we no longer subscribe to anymore. You got to remember, like, this was JM's ideas years ago, right? It's not the stuff that he was talking about right before he passed. But like years ago when he was working on the tribute, he subscribed to a lot of ideas which he might have incorporated into the tribute, like Matt's icon to path theory, where you paint an icon in a city, you go down a line, you paint another icon, you turn, and that's where you go to dig, right? And people have always been like, why is High Gold there when it's not at the park? Well, that could be why. It could have been one of John's theories that he subscribed to back in the day. But I think people don't look at it through John's eyes as much as they should.
I thought that about the tribute is that, if you look at Milwaukee, you look at, I know that's not a solved one, but you look at Cleveland, and they have that building. They have that building of the city, Chicago, the water tower, that have the building in the image. But the building in the image is not where the thing is.
Yeah,
it's not where the
miles away.
It's miles away. So you, in the tribute painting, you have the High Gold facade, and it is, in my mind, miles away from where, obviously you're not going to the High Gold facade and digging in the dirt in front of it. That's not where it is.
It's in the middle of nowhere.
Somebody's probably done that, to be honest.
Right.
It's kind of impossible. You might get shot and killed.
You would hope that a person would realize that that's sort of what he did, right? That was the puzzle he made, was a tribute to the secret. So a building in the image is not necessarily where it's at. We know that from Cleveland. We know that from Chicago. The building you weren't digging at the water tower. You weren't digging at whatever that Cleveland building is. I can't think of right now, but you weren't digging at that place, you were digging at a whole different place.
Right.
And I think the high gold facade is that it's that building that's in the image. That's not where you're digging, but it is the city confirmer.
City confirmer.
Yeah.
Jinx.
All right. Caroline, what were you asking? I mean, I agree. I don't know what
So please.
No, Jason went like so off. I don't even remember.
I just wanted to stick on that topic of how JM solves the secret and why, it applies to. It's interesting to think that people are always trying to figure out what BP was like. When
there's one thing that came out of this interview that I don't mind. I don't think Kit would mind me saying early, because it would help a lot of people, because everybody goes into the tribute assuming that Palancar helped a lot, right? Because John kind of insinuated that he would sit at a table with John Palancar and with Kit, and that they would discuss different ways of incorporating stuff or how it was done in the secret, because they wanted to do it correct. And Kit was like, "No, Dad was no help." He was like, he didn't help at all. So it's really like, I don't think John was ever trying to be misleading about that, because I don't think he saw where it would go in people's minds. But I think people always assumed that because John Palancar helped, that they would be looking for the same kind of stuff they'd be looking for in the secret. But with Kit saying, "No, my dad didn't help at all, it was me and John," it just gives more credence to the fact that you should ignore what you think about the secret and work on this the way John would work on it.
The way John would work on it. And you have, like I said, you have a lot more about how JM thought about puzzles and created a puzzle than you do about how Byron Price thought about and created a puzzle. You have nothing pretty much from Byron, other than the 3 solved ones and how they're put together. You don't have any kind of information about. Whereas for JM, man, if I had a question, I could probably ask you, George, "Hey, what did JM think about this?" And you might know, because you were his friend a lot closer than any of us secret people. You knew him. How did he think about this particular thing about Houston? What was his take on that? And you would probably be able to tell me, or I'd be able to listen to the podcast or look up some old post that he made about it, maybe Q for T, I don't know. But you know what I mean? There's a lot more information out there to try and figure out JM's mind than there is out there to find out, Byron Price's mind.
Yeah.
Well, my whole thing too was like when he did, like, I guess he did his last Christmas spectacular or whatever, where he had to dig up the cast because he figured it was water damaged and couldn't remember where he buried it.
Jesus.
Like,
yeah.
to me, that's just like, that's crazy, because it's like, all right, listen, bro, you put it in the ground and you don't remember where. And, so that, like, that to me is like, how they're supposed to be like your aha moment, right? Like every verse you're supposed to, I know I've talked to like Cole and Brody and whatever that we've picked out like every verse, like where that's going to be your aha moment, where you're going to be like, shit, this is the place I need to dig.
Right.
And for him to say, like, the person that actually buried it, and to be like, I don't quite remember where it was. Where's your aha moment? Like that's the thing that has me very frustrated with the tribute. And
you don't think he was messing around for that? Because I mean, how could he not be messing around with that? Because if you buried something somewhere and you literally built an entire puzzle around where you buried that thing, you would have to know where it was.
Unless it was kind of convoluted. Unless the ending was kind of convoluted. Not convoluted in like a bad way, but convoluted in where like you got to line up like some people work on The Secret where you have to stand in between this one thing where you can look at this and be at the intersection of this other thing. You see what I'm saying? You got to line two things up and then you dig. Or it's like buried in a generic place, like behind a bench, but not lined up with like one of the bench's like legs, just buried behind the bench. You know, not in a extremely specific place or in an extremely specific place that's very subjective to the person. Does that make sense? Either of those two things, I could totally see going out and digging a hole and it being like, oh shit, this thing's gone because you can't find it.
Good.
Ashley Kohler made a comment. She said JM removed himself from the hunt when he got too close to the people that worked on it. Someone once asked if we use methods past to solve the tribute, did that mean he knew how the others worked and he more or less said in a roundabout way that he did? And I would like to say that while I can see how you might have taken that from some of his statements, that is false. He did not know how they worked. And how he was kind of close to some of the people that worked on the hunt. They didn't tell him how The Secret worked.
Right. He thought he knew how they worked, but that doesn't mean he did.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. There was a lot of I thoughts.
Right.
But like, I mean, like the people who made this hunt, they don't give anything up, man. And people like John, they don't ask, right? They're respectful. Just don't ask. So yeah, it's always been weird to me though. Like you were saying before, that he would go back and dig it up and then can't find it.
If I had eyebrows like you, George, I would raise them.
So I had a thought.
JM actually signed our copy of the image
Yeah.
when we hung
cool.
out with him in Newark. Yeah,
There's so
he
many
just like
cool-
randomly like called us and was like, hit us up on like Facebook and was like, "Hey, I'm in Newark for the night. You guys live in North Jersey. Want to hang out? I'm at the Hilton." We were like, "Okay." Like we were cooking dinner. We just like I turned everything off and we were like, "Let's go to Newark." It was cool. He was a really cool guy.
God, there's a
really cool
story
guy.
about John I want to tell so bad. Every time John comes up, there's a story I want to tell, but it was so fucking embarrassing for him, and I can't tell it. Sorry. The whole
That's
him
mean,
being in
George.
Newark and staying at a hotel reminded me of it because it revolved around a hotel. Anyway. I wish I could tell that story.
I can tell you a funny story about the tribute. I will not mention
Oh, Jason just
any
got cuter.
names. Why? Aw.
Can't make her.
That's Turkey.
That's turkey. That's turkey.
You see?
If you
We talk
can't
every day, and
tell-
I never knew you were a disc golf
Troy Tossi says if
aficionado.
you can't tell it, can you mime it for us? No, that would be way worse. Anyway.
So I'll tell you a quick story.
Okay.
So we were trying to collectively as a group, like we delved into Louisville once we had figured out that it was Louisville or whatever. And we're trying to figure out like, all right, what are we missing? Like we figured out the anagrams, we figured out the acrostics, we figured out the fucking benches, we figured out like everything. We've got boots on the ground every weekend. So
Why don't
One-
you have the task in your hand? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But so one of our friends went and looked in Cherokee Park and found this little device. So this is after JM said that he had dug it up and replaced it with a proxy, right? So we're like, all right, what's the proxy going to be? Like, is it going to be like, what's it going to be? You know? So they found this little digital box underneath like a Monarch butterfly station. And they were like, oh my God, this is it. Like, this is it. This has to be it. Took it home, totally took it apart, and realized that it was it was like a guest counter
Yeah.
that like every time somebody would go to like that
It would count them.
part, it would count them. But we like legitimately thought that we fucking found it. And
I found a key in a box when I went. Like legitimately found a key in a box when I went. Hang on, let me find it. I remember like, oh, where is that thing? Shit, don't tell me I did all of this and I don't have the key.
He had to put his hat over the camera because he's not wearing any pants.
I am wearing
That's
pants.
what
They're
it is.
pajamas. It's in my shadow box that I made. But it's like this little yellow plastic key that I found in a Tupperware box that was weighted down with rocks underneath a bridge in like the middle of a stream. And I found this thing and I was like, motherfucker, if this is what John, and I texted Kit and I sent him a picture and I was like, if this is your treasure, I'm gonna be really pissed off. And he's like, that's not it, bro. I was like, well, thank God. I just stole somebody's key to something. I have no idea what it goes to, but it's coming home with me.
but basically he stole like park property. So like it was like,
They can't do their surveys now, Caroline.
No, he gave it back. He like dropped it off.
Yeah,
and was
sure.
Like,
He
was like
gave
a
it
note.
back. Yeah.
And it
So
was like,
Caroline.
I'm so sorry. I
So
borrowed
Caroline.
My bad. I thought this was treasure.
So Caroline,
this. Yes,
one,
Jason.
100% you're in Cherokee Park?
Yeah.
Yeah? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's me. I
Yeah.
mean,
A lot
You
of
know.
people are. I mean, I get it. I don't know.
there's just too many. And again, I don't want to make Sunday Fun Day about the tribute because
No, it's fine. It's fine because it's you
gonna
know,
come out in 2 weeks. So
it's the second month of the 40th anniversary, right? And we were gonna focus that more on the tribute anyway because it came out in February. So it's perfectly fine. Let's talk about it. I don't care. I've never gotten to talk about it before. This is fine. I got a lot of stories.
I agree with you that there's so many things that point at that park. But like I was saying before, the second thing that I had come up with was that the outline of the lady was in the park, but then other things in the image indicated other parts of Louisville. So like, and in the proper direction from it. So the lady in the image, if you went up and to the left was the butterfly.
we're gonna
and the
talk about that
butterfly-
axe.
What's that? And the axe. Well, the interesting thing I found about the axe and this whole thing that I'm talking about now is that if you look at that image of that lady in Cherokee Park, the roads mimic her outline. That where the axe falls in Cherokee Park is an archery range. And that could be something, a tomahawk or a gun would be something that you would fire at the range, right?
There's a lot around Cherokee Park, and Cherokee Park is bigger than you actually think it is.
Oh, yeah. I know. I definitely know.
Because we walked it for like 3 days straight, and there's just too many visual matches in the image and the lore and the painting, the Christensen Patlin on the actual verse. Like there's just too much, in my opinion, to not have it there. Like I don't think George. I mean, like I said, I knew JM, like talked to him on the phone and like message and hung out with him. But was he like a prankster? Do you think that, like, in your opinion, again, I'm not saying that this is like, all around, but do you think that he would make that many things just to fuck with people, to be like the biggest red herring ever?
No, I don't think.
In your opinion?
No, he wouldn't do that. Like, yeah, he was a prankster. Yeah, he liked to fuck with people, but I don't think he'd fuck with people in the hunt.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's
like, I think he wanted to do it the right way. I don't think he wanted to screw with people. I don't think he wanted to mess with people. I think he got him, like, if we're being totally honest, I think he got himself into a couple of situations where he had to figure a way out of those situations. But I don't think, like, this was special to him. I don't think he tried to do anything shady with it.
And so if that's the case, it's got to be Cherokee Park, don't you think?
I think it has to be Cherokee Park. I'll say, like, before the tribute, way before the tribute came out, he had giraffes for the verse, and they were completely different from what they are now. And I was one of the first people to get to see the giraffes, and I got 2 guesses. And my first guess was 3 hours away from Cherokee Park. My second guess was 35 minutes from Cherokee Park.
Wow.
So yeah, probably Cherokee Park.
God, totally off topic, but what a fucking game again!
Yeah, here we go
Holy
again.
shit!
Yeah,
Football again.
Sorry, yeah.
I'm not watching.
Wait, is it actual football or is it like ball football, or is it like?
Is this American football, or is it football?
Soccer. You mean you're not?
Oh no,
you're
gonna get Simon on here. He's gonna get pissed.
Yeah.
Or Arthur. They're gonna be like, you Americans don't know what real football is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know.
Disc Troy Tossi says disc football.
Disc football. That's funny.
It's ball football.
Ball football.
Round ball football or oblong ball football?
Pigskin football or black and white ball football.
Go Bengals. I used to have this thing where, like, anytime the Super Bowl would come up, I would run a simulation game on Madden, like 94 or whatever, just to see who would win. And I remember one year the Oilers won, and it pissed everybody off because there were no Oilers anymore. It was funny.
Right.
I don't know why that just popped into my head, but it did.
Funny.
Sorry.
You know, normally whoever
Simon
wins...
says he doesn't really watch the footy.
Oh.
That's that's the most British thing I've read all day.
The footy.
Actually, it's not British at all. Like, that's... Everybody watches the footy. Anyway.
Sorry for calling you out, Simon. I just figured you would give us some hindsight.
Ashley wants to know if we want to talk about Roanoke and Jockey's Ridge. What the hell is Jockey's Ridge?
What the hell's Jockey's Ridge? That's my question. First question, what's Jockey's Ridge?
I'll go look. I'm going to go look at what Jockey's Ridge is.
Roanoke.
Jockey's Ridge.
I've looked at all the different people's new
Jockey's Ridge State Park.
There
was. I'm guessing it's the one in Nag's Head. Oh, it's the place right. It's the little horse place right outside of the Wright brothers, I think.
Okay.
Oh no, it's down near Grits Grill. Best breakfast place in the world, by the way.
Grits Grill.
Grits Grill.
So good.
Yeah, it's a while from the Wright brothers. So if you hang a right outside of the Wright brothers and go towards Fort Raleigh, it's before there. It's before you get off of Nag's Head.
It's quite a way. That's like my thing.
There's a lot of sand there. It's basically the beach. It is. That's it, man. Just the beach. Looks very pretty. I don't know what else to say about Jockey's Ridge. There we go.
I don't know what else to say about Roanoke that hasn't been said.
You want to go when we go back, George?
To Jockey's Ridge?
Maybe.
I don't know. Can you get there? Can you get like to the beach with the Jeep? Hopefully the Jeep. Yes, you can.
Is your Jeep fixed?
Not yet. I mean, I guess it's a Jeep. Really, anywhere you can get to it by Jeep. Even
I
if
was
we have
so
to
mad
drive over everything.
I was so mad when we were down for Thanksgiving. I was like, "Oh man, that was so cool when we went on the beach, like four-wheeling and like George's Jeep. I want to do that again."
Yeah, Jeep's dead.
No, and we can't take.
Chris Gallagher. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm just going to quit pronouncing people's last names. But Chris said a lot of sand that changes drastically every year. And I think people who don't live on the coast don't realize that shit. Like, you can look at the outline of like a coast and some sand and it's different from year to year. Like sand is fluid, sand moves around, sand rises, sand sinks, sand does all kinds of shit. Yeah. If he buried it in sand, you're screwed. Especially like sand on a beach. If he buried it in static sand, like in a park away from the shore, but if he buried it anywhere where there's water involved, you're screwed.
Yeah, 1980s beach sand does no longer exist.
No.
It's gone.
Yeah.
It's long
1980s bitch sand. That's going to be your new name, Jason. Just so you know.
1980s bitch sand.
Put it as my nickname. Put it as my
rename him in chat. 1980s bitch sand.
1980s bitch sand. That's
Ashley
right.
says, nah, the top layer moves. Bottom layer is solid. That is incorrect, ma'am.
That's not the way.
That's not the way
water
sand
works.
works. No, yeah. I'd say the bottom, like just because of the constant interaction with water, because of the water table, the bottom would move more than the top. I mean, like it's hard to tell, but yeah, that shit just constantly churns.
Well,
George, don't forget
next...
how the shadows affect the movement of the sand.
Right, the shadows.
I mean,
like the shadow of the moon.
Yeah, I mean, we're giving her shit, but people who don't live on the beach don't know this. Like you drop something, if you bury something in the sand and you come back like a month later, it's gone. You'll never find, even if you know exactly where it is. Okay, if it's anywhere near the water table.
My belief is this, that if you look at Chicago and Cleveland and Boston, and as long as with the stipulation of there's not major construction being done, like at Pool Apollo Field, actually, but if major construction is not done, those three places where those three casts were in 40 years from now would still be there.
Yeah.
Okay. If that's the case for those three, I'm not saying it has to be the case for the rest of them, but my mind goes to Byron knew what the hell he was doing, right? He buried them where they wouldn't be disturbed. I do not believe for a second that he buried them in sand that would in any way, shape, or
form.
Right.
Ashley made a comment that makes me think she thinks we called her an idiot. When I want to make it very clear we did not. Like she's perfectly fine. It's just like if you don't live on the beach, you don't know. If you don't watch sea turtle eggs constantly, like they're buried here, and then over time they move this way. Just like the as soon as the gate for the Elizabethan Gardens, as soon as it hit the sand, it went this way. Like that's just what happens with sand, and it's not just stuff in the top. Like the sea turtle eggs that are buried below, they go this way. Anything like if you've got a pylon buried in the sand, over time it moves towards the water. It's just what happens. Sand is a finicky fluid thing.
I hope I didn't offend anybody.
I think like because other people can't get in these conversations and they can't give a retort. Sometimes they think we're just making fun of them when we're not. It's hard. It's difficult. It's fine. We addressed it.
I just hope it wasn't.
We all love Ashley. We would never think of her as an idiot or anything of the like.
No. Anyway, yeah, and Mary Jo said, Mary, I called him, and Mary's probably a dude. I'm not real sure. I'm assigning genders, and this is 2022. I shouldn't do that. Mojo said, agree. Byron was smart enough to protect the cast as best he could. Yes.
Yeah.
Bobby Carroll said, but he could have buried it on a beach where there are steps. He could have done a lot of things. He could have. He probably didn't.
Made them out of strawberries, but he didn't.
Probably didn't, but he could have.
He could have.
Because sand is fluid. I mean, if he did, we're screwed. Just screwed.
Yeah, it's gone.
That's gone.
I just don't think, in my opinion, I just don't think he would have done that just for, even though he thought, I mean, speculatively, that they would have been found within a year or two.
Speculatively.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what they say.
He even said some may never be found, so I guess he suspected they would be in the ground for a while, which would make you think he'd put them. where he
Right.
put the 3 that are found.
But that's what I'm saying. Like he
Right.
would have never
What's weird
predicted
is
he
the
would
three.
have never predicted Sandy, Katrina, like
Yeah.
things like that, you know, and that's in my opinion where things
The 3
where
that
the
are
cast
found,
could be
the 3 that are found have been contained. Right? They're not in open anything. Like Boston was buried in a ball field, but it's a ball field surrounded by concrete. Like it's a contained ball field, right? Cleveland was in a container, like a literal container. Grant Park is contained. Like it's not just an open field of nothing. It's a coincidence people should probably pay more attention to, I would think.
It's a valid point, because if you think about Chicago, hell, there's the wall before the railroad tracks, right?
Yeah.
It's literally in a box.
It's like a
bigger
12-foot wall. Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. It's a bigger box, but it's still a box. And in Cleveland was a smaller box, and in Boston was just another big box. The same thing. Yeah.
Anyway, but I guess
that's what she said.
Boston's an even bigger box.
Caroline's favorite line in the whole world.
Yeah. It's really.
We know it.
I think. Do you want to know a secret? I think everybody in my house has COVID, and we have to go get tested tomorrow. It sucks. Yeah. Destiny's like
Omicron B2. Is that what it is? Omicron B2.
I have no idea. Destiny's in her bed, half dead. Rachel, she doesn't care. She's just like, I'm not sick, and then I feel like I'm gonna die. It sucks. I have to go get tested. I don't want to do that.
Why? It's so easy.
Yeah, stick a thing way up your damn nose.
Somebody asked what baseball fields are made out of. Clay. There's no
Clay.
mica. There's no mica in it. I know, like, there's a common thing that there's mica in baseball fields, but there's not. There's not mica in lines. That's made out of chalk. It's just ground up chalk. Chet's daughter also has COVID, which sucks.
All you really have to do is watch the Expedition Unknown with Boston and
find out exactly what it's made out of, because you can see
look at the pile of dirt that they're supposedly pulling the cast pieces out of, that they put back so that they could film it where they were pulling them out of it. But yeah, all of that dirt that they're standing in, that is the ball field and what it was made of. So
yeah. It's just clay. Like a ball field is whatever's the ground is, and then it's got some sand on top of it, and then it's got probably a foot of clay on top of that, and that's it. There's no mica. I wish there were, but there's not. I have legitimately looked a lot to see if I can find mica in chalk or mica marking paint, and I can't.
The only thing I really, really wish is that we knew exactly the depth of Boston.
Well, it can't be more than however many feet it was on that thing, because there was a just below where the cask was, there was a line, there was a piece of PVC pipe that they were digging up. I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 feet deep.
I think you said it was like 2.6 inches or something like crazy like that.
2.6 feet. Yeah, I don't remember, but it says it on the plans. They're on 12 Treasures.
The pipeline was 2.5 feet down, so it was above the pipeline.
It was above the pipe.
Right.
I mean, it had to have been, because the pipe had been there forever. And that's what they were trying to dig up when they found the cask.
Right.
Like, if they had just hit the pipe, they would have removed the pipe, and that would have been it.
Right.
And no cast for us.
Yeah.
We'd be lost forever.
I gotta get a fan. It's hot. Hang on a second. You guys get to see the inside of my hat a lot. It's very nice.
You're gonna go get blowy?
I'm gonna get something. I have this fan. It's like a squirrel cage fan that Rachel calls blowy, because you turn it on and the entire house like just blows in the wind. Also, its trade name is Blowy.
I have an all-metal industrial fan that's like, I don't know, size of a lawnmower.
Why do I keep trying to put my hat on my headphones?
It's big and loud.
Yeah?
And it helps me sleep. I turn it on when I have trouble sleeping, and it makes me go to sleep.
I have
White
Blowy.
noise.
I have a fan that we've literally nicknamed Blowy in my bedroom that we turn on while I sleep, and Rachel hates it.
Chloe.
Yeah.
We borrowed it and
It's
when we were there.
It blows.
George, I cannot even stand. You made my day. I guess it was it yesterday? With that goddamn thing that you got made for Brett.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Sparks made it for you or whatever.
Yeah. So Brett's wife is an interior designer, but like not like a regular like you would meet at a cul-de-sac interior designer. Like she does really, really high-end shit.
Oh yeah.
And when we bought our house, we were like, "Can you help us design things?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "We can't pay you because you're way out of our price range. But what we can do is like, we can name a room after you." And she was like, "What? I'll just help you pick out paint, man." So after she did that, we had Matt make a sign. Yeah. The Brett Zingler Memorial Boudoir.
It's great. Are you watching
it's
this? Are you
hysterical.
watching this, Caroline? Are you watching this?
The
Oh,
whole stream is watching Jason.
Watch football.
Watch football.
Watch the oblong.
it was like
Ball
a 10-yard sack.
game.
We're talking 2-minute warning tie game, and it took like a 10-yard sack.
Who's playing?
Speaking of Brett,
Is it the Oilers?
It's San Francisco and the LA Rams.
Oh, go
Yep.
San
So Brett's
Francisco.
going fucking nuts.
The
Brett's
49ers?
going nuts right now.
Yep.
Yeah, go San Francisco. Even though Oakland's
game.
probably better.
Even though what?
Oakland's probably better. The Raiders
Oakland doesn't.
isn't the Oakland Raiders?
No, they're
No?
the Las Vegas Raiders now.
Oh well, fuck them. I mean, screw them. I gotta be more family friendly.
Nah.
Ashley says, "Have a good night." Hi. Just
Don't be
watching
more-
y'all. Already love y'all. When it comes to ideas that kids, young adults should be able to solve the clues, would children be researching the ingredients that go into building a baseball field? That is a very good question. Whoever Summer Willis is, they're my favorite now. Hell if I know. Most definitely wouldn't go that far. When I was a young tot in high school, y'all please find these damn things. Yeah, that's a good point. It's a damn good point. Would children be doing any of this?
I would like to see a child dig the hole in the clay next to home plate to reach that thing.
Oh,
that's what I'm right.
No, whatever. When I was a kid, I would have dug a hole wherever.
It wouldn't have been easy though if it was a 2-foot hole in clay.
Yeah. Well, the clay's not that deep. Like a shovel, you just throw that shit out of the way, and then you're in sand. I get it. But what she's saying is like, in 1982, would anybody have done this, right? Like if we're sitting here talking about Micah, would we have been? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's more simple than that. Yeah. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, George.
Keep it simple.
Yes.
Thought I was the keep it simple guy.
Always.
I got way less simple
Stop
than I used to.
overthinking it. Stop overthinking
Yeah.
it, John. Keep it fucking simple.
It's just Boston Pops, man. Don't think about it. It's just
I know. I actually can't wait. Like, I mean, obviously, I would like one of my good friends or acquaintances or anybody in this community to find the next cast, but to have that happen and to have JJP be like, "Oh, got you guys.
Yeah.
This is what it means." You know,
I don't know that.
I don't
moment-
remember, but now I remember.
That
Got
moment
you.
of BOSTON, I will never forget it. That moment.
I'm so scared that one day somebody's gonna find the St. Augustine cask and John's gonna stand up and be like, Rain Tree, the restaurant. Did you not go to the restaurant and order the oysters? That's where the cask was. You just had to order the oysters.
Smack self on head.
Like Jesus Christ.
I don't know. That's just I and that's kind of going almost full circle. Is the back of the book, like we were saying in the beginning, like, yeah, we're supposed to only use the verses and the images. Everything else is just extra.
Aladar book says that I am the gift giver.
Are you the gift giver, George? No,
No.
you're not. You're not.
Mojo
You're Johnny
says,
Windex. Now you're Johnny Windex, but you are not
Yeah.
the gift giver.
Mojo says, "Oh, Mr. Palancar." Mojo says Mr. Palancar knows a lot more than he's saying, but understand he needs to protect his interests. Yeah, I'd agree with that 100%. I bet you John could not walk you to a single place, point down, and say there's a cask. But I bet you John could take you to a park and be like, it's somewhere around here.
Somewhere around here.
Every single one of them.
I agree. I agree with that.
And I bet he could get you like within a foot.
This is the thing that when I saw it the first time I saw it was when JJP, I believe it was Expedition Unknown, he said he wouldn't tell anything about it because he is honoring his friend, and that would be Byron. Yeah. And when he said that, if you don't believe that, then I don't know what to tell you.
You felt it in his voice, you know.
Exactly. And so
I would tattle on both of you at any time. So just fuck you guys, you know.
Like I believe that with my whole heart. I believe that John could get you really, really, really damn close, but he never will. Like he'll go to his grave and he won't tell anybody.
Right. There's the thought. You know, I guess if he didn't ever intend to tell anybody, then him taking it to his grave would be no different than Byron dying ahead of time. You know, like why would JJP tell somebody that he wouldn't want them to tell someone? You know, I don't. It's just silly.
I mean, we've talked about it before, right? Like, do you think that if Byron didn't die in 2005, that he would have given hints and wanted people to find them, or say like, listen guys, this is where like I said, Katrina or Ida or whatever, and he knew where he buried it and knew that it was gone because of a natural disaster or something like that, then he'd be like, I have a two-part answer. I'm taking it out of play.
I have a two-part answer for that question. All the way up until Expedition Unknown and its craziness that it has brought. All the way up till then, probably not. Like, it was the last thing on his mind. Even after Cleveland was found, it was like, I don't think he cared if they were gone from where he buried them. It didn't seem like he gave a damn, right? But I feel
like he died like 6 months after Cleveland was found.
Right. So. Well, what I'm getting at is, if he was still alive right now, that means that he would have lived through all of Expedition Unknown and the craziness that it has brought 11,000 people to this page. And I think that he would be more forthcoming with things. Because he would, well, I mean, the rights of the book and the rights of the paintings, it would all be different.
Right, he would still own them all, so he would be able to do what he wanted.
Yep, and with all the craziness that has come out now, I think he would be more. I just feel like he would be more forthcoming in either helping or at least confirming that this thing over here is not the case. Right? You are a no. You are a no. You know what I mean? Like, I think he'd probably be willing to do that. I don't know.
What do you think, George?
I bet as soon as Expedition came out, he would have been bum rushed with 10,000 emails from random people being like, is it in Paducah, Kentucky? And he would have been like, I wash my hands of this.
Yeah, but
I don't think he would have done it quicker than Palancar did. Quicker than anybody.
Wow.
In 18 years, he would have been
He gave hints to people. Like, he talked to people. I don't know why we're acting like he didn't. He talked to Mark. He told Mark there was one in the children's zoo.
All right, well, let's go to St. Louis.
People ignore that, though. Yeah, I don't get the St. Louis thing. I still want to know the context of that email, and I don't. Right. And I don't think anybody will. So I just kind of ignore it, and nobody...
So you think he would have just, like, washed his hands of it and been like, oh, this is some bullshit thing that I did in 1982?
No, I think he would have been like, I'm not going to humor 10,000 people in their random guesses.
No, not like today, but in the past 20 years. Like before you guys made this Facebook, before Expedition Unknown.
Do I think he would have talked to people? He did. He did talk to people.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's kind of like for and George, I'm just gonna bring this up real quick.
Okay.
Well, first, okay. So you know how everybody's making puzzles these days, right? And the latest one is Rhapsody in Grey, which was really tough. That was Lisa and Adrian. So it was all 5 boroughs of New York, and then one final verse and thing.
Yeah.
They put out sorry. They put out 2 separate hints. Okay. So what I'm saying is they're excellent puzzle makers. It's really, really it was a really tough puzzle so far. But you make a puzzle for somebody to eventually solve it, right?
Yeah. No, maybe.
I mean, unless you're George Ward, because your puzzle is fucking unsolvable.
You don't solve that shit. Well, you guys make puzzles to be solved, and most people who are in the armchair treasure hunt community make puzzles to be solved because you like puzzles. Byron wrote a book because he's a book publisher, and he would want that book bought. I think he would do anything to get publicity for it. So if that included releasing a hint, maybe. I don't know. See what I'm saying? Like, you guys have 2 different goals.
He totally would have, at this point, Byron would have re-released another version of the book with better quality images. And
Aldar Book wants to know if Aldar Book asked me he's like, do you know who the gift giver is? Direct question, yes. Yeah, I know exactly who.
It's Johnny Windex.
They. Like, nobody believes me. It's more than one person. It's they. I know who they are.
You already made it pretty clear that you knew who they were. Yeah. I thought, anyway.
Like, you're not going to guess.
If anybody's... look, there's so many people watching. So, back to that, Georgie.
What?
None of us have have been able to figure out your fucking puzzle.
It's easy.
For anybody that doesn't know, can you just tell us what the website is? So we can go to it and try to
Aldar
figure it out.
Aldar Book also asked why I won't tell the public, because I was asked not to.
George is a very good man of his word.
Like, there was a long period of time when I didn't necessarily, like, the podcast team existed as a team, and I kind of shared all of this stuff with them. And recent things happen, like in the past past year and a half, 2 years, I haven't shared shit. Like, no, there's one person knows who gift giver is, and that's me. And I was asked not to say, so I don't. It's Your Legacy, but the L is a 7. Yourlegacy.com, but the L is a 7. And then it's puzzle 1. Puzzle 2 is pretty easy. No, I don't think anybody solved it. I haven't checked on this in forever. No, I haven't solved that. Anybody solved one yet? Somebody got really close.
So check that out, guys.
Or don't. It's hard.
It's really hard.
There might be a prize. There might not.
I gave up.
It might tell you if there's a prize. Who knows?
Yeah, I gave up. I'm ashamed to say. I gave up. I don't know.
Would you lie about there being 2 people and that we wouldn't guess in order to protect Gigi's identity? No.
Wait, what?
Why?
Somebody's asking if I would lie about there being 2 people just to protect their identity. I could just say it's just one person and you're not going to guess who it is. And, like, you'll never find out because I'm not going to say. Like, there's no point in me saying it's 2 people.
Yeah, that's
I mean, I guess. Seems kind of yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, people... I don't know. I mean, you and I have a very good friendship, George, so it's like...
I'll post that. Somebody asked about the legacy, so I'll post it. You're not going to solve it.
You could try. It's very hard.
Enjoy. It's hard. I loved making it. Like, it's 100% not what you guys are used to. And I knew because I've watched the way you guys solve puzzles, because I knew that, because you Caroline, and was Jason in the jewel box?
No.
So
Not me.
when all of these like Spring Off Armchair Treasure Hunt started, they all started with the puzzle called Six, and there was a group of people called the Jewel Box, and all of those people, I don't know how the hell you did it, but that entire team was creative as shit. Like, they're all still around. Everybody that you look at in The Secret and you go, that dude's got brilliant ideas, or that girl knows what she's talking about. They were all in this team. And they worked on a puzzle together, and I was able to watch how they solve puzzles. And then I made one where none of that applied.
You were like, "Fuck you guys! I know
Great.
I know how you shop down the aisles. I'm gonna turn it all around."
Yeah. They're not going to solve this one.
That
Oh,
was fun though. That was I will say that was a really, I mean, prior to COVID, like
The Six
Jesus.
puzzles?
Well, no, the 6 puzzles, and then William extending it was
Yeah, those were awesome. He was gonna do another one. I tried to help him out with some of it, but I don't think he ever got it off the ground. It was complex though.
He did one with Lisa Finch
Yeah.
a while ago. I forget what it was. And just for the record, I'm only smoking on camera because George is. So I do not condone smoking, but if George does it, I can do it.
Everybody
I
in the
condone
comments.
it. I don't do it, but I condone it.
Everybody in the comments is looking at my puzzle, but they're all looking at number 2. You have to look at number 1. I didn't make number 2. This was a series of puzzles that were made by different people, and the point was for nobody to really tell you who made which one, but people figured out pretty quickly that I made number 1.
If you're going to make number 2, you should go to the bathroom for that.
Yeah, well, my chair is
Well,
nice.
George has to finish getting the pipes done so that your bathroom could be complete. Because if you want us to come down, I need another bathroom.
Nick can poop and Rachel can bust in. It's fine. There's a toilet. There's just no shower. Everything else works. I'm just not a contractor. I don't know what I'm doing.
The
Yeah, but you
49ers
guys-
lost, by the way. 49ers
fine.
have lost.
That's fine. I mean, since
That's
Oakland
fine.
moved
Tell them
to
that.
since
Tell them.
Oakland moved to Las Vegas, I don't care anymore. And like, I think, like, I'm not a football guy. I have no idea. Like, I didn't even know they moved. The only reason that I like the Raiders is because of what's that dude? Is it Marshawn Lynch? That one interview where he was like, I'm only here so I don't get fined. That's the only reason I care.
Yeah. On
Real
that
quick,
wonderful note, guys,
Georgie,
I
before
think I'm
you-
going to,
I was just
hang
gonna
up
say
on this.
before
Okay.
you leave,
Yes.
I have a special visitor.
Is it the three-legged cat?
It's
her
the
other
most
half?
handsome.
Oh,
There he
it's
is.
Nick. It's everybody's
Nick?
boyfriend. Hi, everybody's
guys.
boyfriend, Nick.
We can all rest and have sweet dreams now that we've seen Nick's face.
I've got to
So-
go now.
Yeah.
Of course, Nick shows up, everybody leaves, right? What did I bark?
Oh,
Say
I was
something,
just
Nick.
about
Let's
to-
talk about something that Nick wants to talk about for like 2 minutes. Nick, you got 2 minutes. Give us a topic.
Let's
San
hear it.
Francisco 49ers just shit the bed.
Yeah, we
Shit
just
the bed,
talked
yeah.
about that. Catch up, Nick. Come on, give us
Well,
something new.
one of us was driving when it happened, so you know how hard it is to try to watch TV on your phone while you're driving. I don't recommend doing that, everybody.
Nick, tell us where the tribute cask is, Nick. Tell us.
You're gonna do that to me?
It's at John's friend's house.
It's John's friend's house. It's on his mantle. I mean, I guess they moved it from his mantle.
It's actually in my backpack, which is the world's smallest backpack if you've never seen it before.
I told him it's in charity.
I'm gonna give you 3
That joke fell
places.
flat.
Behringer Spring area, Hogan Pavilion area,
Mm.
and I want to always rule out Christensen Fountain, but that might be still one of my top 3.
I still think it's by those benches. I don't know what the hell the name of the area is called.
Well, which benches? The Edwin and Olivia or the Martian Hill?
Martian Hill. I still
That
think
would
you.
be That's in the Hogan Pavilion area.
I really think that because of the way John couldn't find it, that you've got to line something there up. Like I don't.
But I
don't
also
think,
believe that has a lot to do with the Behringer Spring area because the Edwin and Olivia benches are there.
Yeah.
There's the Murrock fountains there. There's the Boone statue right in an eye shot. I mean, I think there's a lot of places you can visually line up things in Cherokee. Those two would probably be the top three that require some type of, I don't want to say triangulation, but something along those lines.
Well, no matter where you think it is, it's down below that.